Welcome to Flash Tutorial 76, Slot Machine Part 3. It's a follow-up to Tutorial 75, Slot Machine Part 2, which I have opened on my computer now. I want to start by putting all these what I call Pull W movie clips inside of a folder. So click a folder here and bring that folder down so it's above those, and one at a time just click and drag them onto the right and up, and then let's come up here, make sure all the layers are locked, and we can click this here and makes this cleaner, gives me some more room down here at my stage. Select the pull button layer, insert a layer, and call it a gain button, A-G-A-I-N B-T-N. We're going to allow us to play the game over and over. Insert a blank keyframe on frame 2, and opposite to the window right here, insert a keyframe, bring that up. We need that up here. For the pull button here, insert a blank keyframe. So on this second frame right now, all I can see is the windows. Select the frame 2 of the again button layer, and down here I'm going to use a black for my stroke, and again a blue for my fill. Keep my rectangle tool, open up the properties panel, going up around 13 or so ish, and here I'm going to draw a rectangle, highlight it, modify, convert it to a symbol, and it's called a gain, A-G-A-I-N _ B-T-N. Copy that, right click copy, and again this is where I'm at, instance of a gain button, paste this in for the instance name. Select this second frame of the action script layer, right click, insert blank keyframe, and there's my blank keyframe. Select that frame, open your actions panel, and type in this code. This is the code for that button we just made. Type AGAIN _ BTN, that's that button, capital A, period, add event listener, small a, capital E, capital L, turns blue, open bracket, most event, capital M, capital E, period, all capital letters, C-L-I-C-K, comma, and I'm calling this function pull again, capital P, capital A, close bracket, semicolon. Function turns purple. Copy pull again and paste it in here. Open bracket, event, small e, E-V-E-N-T, colon, copy most event, paste it in here, capital M, capital E, close bracket, colon, void turns the same color as function. There's the open curly bracket for the function, there's the closed curly bracket, and right now all we're doing is tracing, T-R-A-C-E, that turns blue, open bracket, and in quotations I got frame reset. So this is going to be a frame that we're going to this is the reset frame. Let's go back to the timeline, open up action script layer 1, frame 1, and we now have to put a stop up here. So go to the very top, press enter, arrow key puts it up, and write stop, S-T-O-P, open close bracket, semicolon. Come down to the bottom. So now when we pull this, hit this pull button, we want to do the same things we're doing right now, but we also want to now tell it to go to and stop, small g, small t, capital A, capital S, go to and stop, open bracket, to, close bracket, semicolon. I'm back on scene 1. Make sure all my layers are locked. Selecting the again button layer, inserting the layer, and calling it frame, F-R-A-M-N-A-M, as in frame names. Select the second frame, insert a blank keyframe, and while that second frame is selected, open the properties panel and call it reset, R-E-S-E-T. We're calling that frame reset. And when I hit enter, a little flag comes in here. Select that first frame and call this one pull, P-U-L-L. Hit enter. So now let's give this a try as it is. Test movie test. Press the pull button and we advance to frame 2. Press this button and what we should get is a trace telling me frame reset, and the fact that we see this, we know that that go to and play to frame 2 worked. So now let's go back to that code right here, open that code up, and instead of going to and stopping on frame 2, we're going to go to the frame name. So in quotations, it was called reset, R-E-S-E-T, close quotation. Now it'll go using this frame name. And let's just test, make sure that works. And when I hit it, I went to that frame. That's good. What this means is I can move things around if I have to later on, move these frames around. Open the actions panel for frame 2, and we're going to add some code in here. We know this is working, so we can just comment this out. And I want to use these four lines. This meaning where we're at right now with this button on this layer 1, frame 2. Open square bracket, we've done this before, that's the lower case of the open curly bracket. So open square bracket, holder slot 1, close square bracket, period, go to and stop, 1, frame 1. This, just copy that, paste it in and make it a 2. Paste it again and make it a 3. And at the same time, we want to put that symbol movie clip back on its frame 1. So symbol underscore MC period, go to and stop, open bracket 1, close bracket, semicolon. So this is going to put those movie clips back to where they were after the roll. Let's go back to scene 1. Open this folder up. Make sure all the layers are locked. And select all these pulls on layer 2. Come down like that. Right click. Insert keyframes. That pulls all those up. We can lock that. Close that folder again. Because we're using code on this next frame for this symbol here line, click on that second frame, insert a keyframe, and I think we're in a position to try this. Control test movie test, and according to this, well, I'm going to assume these are right now. Press this, they'll tumble and stop. When I hit the reset button, I should go back to frame 1. And I did, and there's my symbols lined up, so ready to do another one. Open the second frame of the actions code, and now we want to be able to go back to that frame. So go to and stop, and we gave that name pull. So that's that frame name. So in quotations I have pull. So now that will go back to frame 1, and this should work. I roll it, it stops. Back to frame 1, I get new parameters, roll it, stops, roll it, stops. Now what we want to do is make sure we don't see these symbols rotating outside of these windows. Make sure all the layers are locked. Select the folders layer, insert a layer, and call it BG as in background. Select frame 1. Go down to your stroke, make sure you have no stroke, and for the fill I'm picking a color ugly yellowish orange thing here. Click on the rectangle tool, open the properties panel, and make sure that this is reset back to zeros. Make sure that down here in the corner, now you may have this panel somewhere else, but here when you select, I'll unselect it. When I select the rectangle tool, watch down here. Now see this little square with the circle in it? That's object drawing. There's large, make it small like that. Now let's get this stage so we can see it. Let's put it down to 25%. And even though things are outside of here, outside the stage, this is I think called the pasteboard, you don't see them when you actually run the Swift file, but when you're doing a test you do. So I don't want to see them even when I'm doing a test, so I'm going to start way up here and make sure I cover all that like that. Now I'm going to bring this, lock that layer, so I'm going to bring this down for a minute. Oops, come on. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to lock that layer. Going to make my stage 50%. Come down here to the fill, pick up no fill. No fill. Stroke, I want red. Open the properties panel. Make sure, select the rectangle. Make sure this is 1. It may still be 7. Make sure this is a 1. And selecting that frame 1, I want to make my stage 100%. Click off to the side here. I'm going to click off to the side. Pick up that rectangle tool and click right here and draw like that. Click this button. See what I did? Pick that rectangle tool up. Click right here. Draw like that. Pick up this button. See that? Look. And then once more, pick this rectangle tool up. Draw that like that. Now, selection tool. Click here, delete. Click here, delete. Click here, delete. Now when we test this out, we're not going to see those symbols outside those windows. Running, reset. Running, reset. I now want to make it so that tumblers, when they turn, the symbols turn, that they last a little longer and turn at a random period of time. So we'll start with this pull W1 movie clip, open it. Select the first frame of the actions layer and we'll put in some code here. Type, 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 type. We're going to create a variable, VAR, capital FR as in frame, capital LOOP1, colon, number equals 0, semicolon. We've done all these sort of things before. Function, that's that. Now this function is going to be called frame loop 1, capital F, capital L1, open close bracket, semicolon, void. There's the open curly bracket for my function, my closed curly bracket. Inside that function, we're creating another variable, VAR. We're calling it slot num1, capital N, 1, colon, it's a number, equals, there's this math random again, capital M period small r, that turns blue, open close bracket semicolon. Copy this frame FRM loop 1 equals, they're doing the math round now, capital M period small r, open bracket, and it says slot num1 asterisk, which is multiplied by 10 plus 4, close bracket semicolon. This means we're going to generate a number between 4 and 14, and we're going to trace this number, trace TRACE, open bracket, FR loop 1, close bracket semicolon. There's the closed curly bracket, and this is what actually calls this function up. Frame loop 1, open close bracket semicolon. This is going to generate a number here from 4 to 14. So let's test it out. Generated a 10 that time, right there, and we'll do it once more. And we generated the 4, so that's working. I now want to click here, draw your cursor down, and insert keyframes. Brings everything up to that last frame. Click on this frame right here and get that fuzzy square and drag it to the right so it's at the end. That's our stop. Click this frame here, right click, insert a blank keyframe, open that actions panel, and type in this code. Type. That's that variable we just made back on frame 1. Frame loop 1 minus colon. This is going to decrement it. So every time it goes through this loop, it's going to decrement it. That means subtract 1. We're going to trace to see what happens. Trace, open bracket, frame loop 1, close bracket, semicolon. Now, if, open bracket, frame loop 1 is greater than or equal to 0, and it will be when it starts, close bracket. There's the open curly bracket for my if, my closed curly bracket. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to trace, open bracket, and in quotations, just this word, frame loop 1, close quotation, close bracket, semicolon. But at the same time, I'm going to go back and play, go to and play, small g, small t, capital A, capital P, open bracket, 2, close bracket, semicolon. So it's going to start here when it's total and go like this and decrement, and when it finally reaches 0, it'll jump to here and stop. So that'll give some randomness to this particular pull 1 MC. So let's go back to scene 1. Let's open the actions panel for frame 1. And so we don't have to keep trying it until we get the right value. Come down here to where the holders are, the variable holders, and comment this out, 2 forward slashes. Copy this. Right click copy. We're just going to put some temporary code in here. Enter. Paste it. And I want this to say, click right here and drag all the way back to there. See that? Delete that and put a 1 in. So we're telling it, we're not making up where it's going to go. We're telling the slot 1 to go to that PW1 movie clip. So now when we test it, that first slot will roll at a random number of times before it stops on the grape. No errors. It's actually going to go 14 times. See this? 1, 2, 3. See it counting down? And when there it stops. Let's do that once more. Now you can change this value as much as you want. This time 9 times. If you want it to be more, you can do it. If you want it to be less, you can do it. So that works. Now I'm going to do the pull 5 and the pull W9 with you. They're the ones that correspond to slot 2 and 3. So right click on this actions layer, copy this layer. Open PULLW5. Right click, paste layer, delete that old layer, click here, bring your cursor down like that, insert keyframes, select frame 1, and where you see this one, make it a 5. Make this a 5. Make this a 5, 5, 5, 5, and a 5. Go up to this frame here. Make these all 5s. 5, 5, another 5, and 5. And let's look at this last one here, and that's just the stop. Open up number 9. You should still have it. Paste layer. If not, go back and copy it. Delete a layer. Add these keyframes. And change these to a 9. 9, 9. This is just as easy for me than turning it on and off. Nine, 9, 9, 9. And there's nothing in that last one has to be changed. That just stops. Let's go back to scene 1. And what I'm going to do is copy this line right here. This holder pull one we made. Copy that. Comment out this one. Paste what we copied in here. And change this one to a 5. Come down here, comment that one out, insert a line by enter, paste it, and change this to a 9. And right here, this is actually slot 3 now, and up here, this is going to be slot 2. Now, with a little bit of luck, these should tumble at random and stop on these grapes. This one's going to be 12 times, 7 times, and 8 times. That's 12, 7, and 8. And then they're stopping. Very good. Back to the main timeline. And what you want to do now is remove these temp things right here. I'm just commenting them out. Do them first. There was 3 of them. Remove them. So now we're back to our randomness. Unless you want to leave them for when you do your test. Open your movie clips one at a time. Start with W1. Copy that layer for the action script layer. Do 2, 3, and 4. Then go to W5. Copy its action script. Put it in 6, 7, and 8. And then copy 9s and put it in 10, 11, and 12, and make sure you put the corresponding numbers for each of those movie clips. And then I would remove all my traces, just highlight them out, and then if you ever need them for troubleshooting purposes, you still have them. I'll do all that, and I'll get back to make sure that mine works. I have all my pull movie clips done, and I'm going to do a last test. And we'll just see that they spin more than a few times. They do. I'm quite happy with that. There's going to be one more follow-up video. It'll be Flash Tutorial 77 Slot Machine Part 4. So if you plan on finishing this off, make sure you save this FLA. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learn.